What's up, guys? SUMELEVATE. I want to begin this video with a little quote. It's not where you take things from, but it's where you take things to. That's a Godard quote, talking about how nothing is original, Originality is non-existent. We take things from everything around us: clouds, street signs, old films, new songs. So take whatever resonates deeply with you, within your heart, and make it an experience and make it an experiment. I hope you like this new video. Boom! Pow, this is SUMELEVATE checking in with you guys again, and this time we're gonna be continuing the list, which is a big part of my self-improvement and self-discovery. So this time we're gonna be talking about health and questions related to health and listing things relevant to health. So the first one is list the ways that you treat a cold. Now, I treat a cold through various ways. First of all, I use positive thinking and positive visualization. I drink a lot of warm liquids like teas and beverages that really get my sinuses to be less inflamed. I use different kinds of homeopathic medicine or ailments and herbal remedies and things like that. I take a lot of warm showers. A lot of being a burrito, being wrapped up in a blanket, in bed, just listening to things like binaurals or things to boost my immunity, Things like that, man. The next health question is list the foods that you would eat if guaranteed you wouldn't get fat. This is a very good question. I would munch on a lot of different kinds of food, I would go for the ramen. First and foremost, every college student's holy grail. It's really bad for you, but still it's delicious. Nutella, peanut butter cups, pie, soft waffles, Cheetos, Pop-Tarts, burgers, cheesy fries. There's this Indian snack called kurkure. It's amazing, spicy stuff. I love spices. Ice cream, popsicles, freeze pops, lollipops, breadsticks, pizza, like authentic pizza, cheesecake, preferably blueberry, Milky Ways, Mars bars, all of these great junky foods. But since I will be guaranteed to get fat from these things, I keep it to a minimum. I don't overdo it. You shouldn't overdo it either. Junk food is incredibly bad for your system. All the preservatives. Once in a while, it's okay. You have a little nibble of something because you're craving it. Craving something too much isn't good either. So you need to break that. And you don't want to get hungry too often either. So it's good that I want all of these things, but it's also good that I can check myself. And I can say, put down that pie, dude. That's not helping you in your journey. And that's important to do too. Next one is list all of the self-improvement techniques you've experimented with. So I've tried self-hypnosis, I've tried neuro-linguistic programming, I've tried binaural beats, I've tried different forms of psychoanalysis and therapy, Jungian, Gestalt, even Freudian, but, to a certain extent. I've tried and experimented with different forms of therapies, crystals, Reiki, meditation. List what you do to restore your soul is the next question. So, things that I do to restore my soul is taking a nap, taking a really strong power nap, finding a way to get my thoughts down on paper or record myself and listen to it back to myself so I know how ridiculous or weird I'm sounding. Having somebody else tell me what's wrong and having them give me their subjective interpretation of what's wrong with me and then that kind of helps my restoration process. Also, changing the sensations around me, like cleaning my room up once in a while, finding a way to breathe in different scents, different kinds of tactile things, maybe fuzzy things, finding a way to envelop my senses, desiring sensation. And so the things that I do to restore my soul are all things which are kind of cathartic to a certain extent. Things that kind of just release. List the parts of your body that feel like you. Well, all of me feels like me, but the certain attributes that make me me are probably my artistic fingers, my intense Scorpio gaze, and my body, but not my body also, because it's constantly shifting and changing, and I'm trying ways to enhance and optimize my body all the time. So this is a way of kind of figuring out how I want my body frame to be, how I want my body structure to be. You actually have a way to manifest this. Some people say, oh yeah, it's all genetics, Like, I love eating, but I also want a six-pack. People just come up with a lot of excuses. You can do both. You can figure it out. You can do the research, You can shape your own reality. That's why we're human beings, and we're not, we're not like little chipmunks just like stuck in the corner, like eating like pieces of log, We have a potential to mold ourselves. We have a way of plasticizing our neurons. Having a healthy lifestyle also motivates others around you to have this lifestyle. They will slowly start to recreate what you have done and see the value in that. See your presence, feel your presence, be all that you can be. List all the I like this one. List all the bogus health fads you've tried or wanted to. I've always wanted to try the paleo diet, as much as that really sounds ridiculous. I think there's something primal in me that just reminds me that I'm still, I have some caveman in me. I think every guy kind of does. They have this side of them where they're just like, man, at the end of the day, I'm just a guy, I'm just a caveman. There's that part of your brain where that, like, oh man, I'm still a caveman. So I think that the paleo diet appeals to many guys because of that. The fact that it reminds you of this need to hold on to our ancestry and our traditions. This kind of like need to be strong. This ego validatingness of being like a man and having to be strong. I think the paleo diet does that. Well, the only thing is that it doesn't consider things like, I don't know if it considers things like lentils or Eastern culture. I'm not very sure. I've been trying it out. I've been experimenting with it, but I feel there's also a great benefit from eating carbs and having that energy and really fine-tuning that. Eat a pizza once in a while. Like, that's fine. Like, you don't need to restrict yourself that much. Also, on the opposite end of the spectrum is the vegans, that you need to limit everything. You need to make sure that animals are getting the respect that they deserve. They're not, it's not so much as being, like, rude, like, being, like, self-centered and being like, oh man, I just care for the taste of food. Like, there's also this other side of that which really appeals to me about veganism, is that it's finding a way to make up. It's finding a way to manipulate and make up for the fact, like mock duck, and like I've had some tasty vegan foods, I'll be honest with you guys. But that is not to say that I will stop eating meat forever. Meat is also delicious. also, again, I think it's that primal thing. Yeah, there is this worry for me, especially in things like fast food. Like, are they torturing the animals? Are they keeping them there where their cortisol levels are rising? And then, you know, you're eating that, and so you're feeling those same stress hormones and things that that animal felt right before it died. There's also that argument, and I think that's very valuable. I think that's why we're going more into like locally grown, farm animals. Like, we're going more towards that because we're realizing like the impact that it's having on our bodies. So a lot of you know me as a good cook. And I try my best, but only I use my gut instincts, I use my intuition, and I use my sense of taste. So the next question is, list your favorite cooking ingredients. So you guys know that I love spice. Spicy. Ow! Yeah, so I love spice because of the heat. This idea of, this pain is in fact pleasurable. This going through this experience of crying or like going like actually needing to do that is an actually transformative experience, is why I think that I'm so into it. Also, I've been growing up in third world countries, India, Thailand, and so these places really use a lot of spices. And so even if you're a baby to spice, I would recommend that you try and train your taste buds to really try and taste a different range of flavors. Even finding a way to eat bitter things, because bitter things really make our appetite more. So that's why we have this thing in India called shukto, which we eat beforehand, Bengalis usually, and that kind of helps you crave food. The herbs that I like to use are basil, things like really mint leaves, things that have really, really strong flavors, and I like to balance them out. I think using lime juice is incredible because I love the taste of sour too. It's a subjective experience, but I think lime juice, a little bit of lime juice, or using a little bit of sugar to balance out soy sauce, things like that, just to find a nice balance when you're cooking is an incredible experience. So try that out, try avoiding too much salt, because there's also a lot of salt in certain spices already. There's kind of a need to assess, like, what do I really need in this? How can I make this a very tasty experience for my tongue? Really, that's what you're asking yourself, and you're using your intuition, and you're trying out new herbs and things and different spices. I'm very inspired by the different Chinese sauces and things too, and I really am. I love, of course, Indian spices, but those I'm still experimenting with. I kind of try and do more of a fusion tactic when I'm tackling foods and cooking. So yeah. List all of the identifiable marks unique to you alone. Well, of course, my swagger. And I'm out. This has been SUMELEVATE. Keeping it real, keeping it chill with you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, etc. And I will be back next time to tell you about the wonders of the world that we live in. And, feel free to ask me questions. Feel free to hashtag things on my wall. I've had multiple people come up to me and be like, yo, Sume, your new video, that was inspiring, man. You make really relatable content. How do you get all these people to come and talk to you? That's great. I want to be hearing more of that. So please, I do this for you guys, so please let me know how I can make this a very interesting and memorable experience for you. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. This is SUMELEVATE. Step your life game up.